Club.
Welcome back to Back Porch Overs Club. I'm Nate, and I am joined with my buddy Jake.
What's up with it?
Scott is not going to be with us for a little bit. The reason why we've been postponing our shows and our picks and everything like that is because Hurricane Ian that came through Florida. Scott lives, and there's my cat, and Scott lives in Cape Coral, and they were hit pretty bad. And he's focusing on life right now, and we're just kind of picking up the mantle as he as he figures out life and everything right there. So, but in the meantime, we've been doing pretty good on our college pick'ems and our NFL pick'ems. But we're here to start week 7. I think we missed a few weeks, but
Yeah.
we've been doing our pick'ems and our graphics and stuff like that. But I'm ready, man. This week's going to be crazy college football wise.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's getting to the meat and potatoes of their schedule. Last few weeks we had some contenders that were pretenders that we found out. Kentucky. And
True.
some other teams like LSU that was ranked for some reason last week. I don't know why. Um, there's more as well.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a separation gap starting now. Jake, what is your take, your takeaway? At least this last weekend.
Yeah. Last weekend, first off, the LSU thing. Why are you ranking them? They barely beat a very bad Auburn team. You can see I'm not wearing my Auburn gear right now because at this point we'll wait for college basketball season to kick off. No, but yeah, they're a bad team. They jumped to 25 because they were 4-1, 5-1 for no reason. Struggle win. So with that aside, I mean, obviously you guys saw that was my lock of the week last week because I had zero faith in LSU winning football games. But yeah, no, this past weekend really showed us, especially in some of our big conferences and our Power Five conferences, who is a contender and who is a pretender. And that's really what you see rolling into week 6 normally. Sometimes you don't. You still have a team or two here, like in the Big Ten. You still have questions around Michigan, Penn State, and Ohio State. Which one of those is going to come to the top? We'll see.
And they look good too. Like that's the thing. Like Michigan they are beating their opponents like they're supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
The question around their defense, we'll see this week when they play Penn State. I mean, they're going to score. They're very their offense seems like it came out of nowhere last year and it's continued this year.
Of course, yeah.
But the hardest team they played on their schedule when it comes to the FPI or anything has been Maryland, and they still beat Maryland by 10, I believe.
Exactly.
So, and it was at home. They haven't really played an away game. It seems like every game's they played Iowa, but Iowa literally scores like one touchdown every 5 quarters. So
they're still playing football, based on the 1920s, I think. Do they even throw forward passes in Iowa? I don't know.
They accidentally did an option, but went forward. So, but no, I mean that's you can talk all day about Iowa. It's bad.
Yeah,
it'd be so bad. I couldn't be a fan. I'd be falling asleep halfway through each game. It's just it's terrible. Ew. Like the fact that the Illinois Iowa game was 9-6. Like that was excitement. Like they were excited about that.
Hey, I remember an Auburn Mississippi State game that ended 6-3.
6-3. I remember that one with the Sylvester Croom.
Yeah. So I mean, I've been there. It's it is what it is. But hey, the good news is we do have some really good football this weekend that's going to separate separate some teams and really start getting to look at that.
Yeah, we started last week. We definitely started last week with Utah and UCLA.
Yeah.
We had on our boards, we had Utah being still one of the better of the teams in the top 15, and they obviously proved wrong. They went to UCLA in front of 10 fans and got kicked.
It was the traffic. It had to have been the traffic.
Yeah, like they got their ass kicked. It wasn't even close when it comes to that. Like that UCLA team's legit. They're going to be a good contender to USC if they continue doing what they're doing. Chip Kelly silently is building a little program over there, and people forgot about that, which is fine. Um, but he's getting guys. He's recruiting dudes who want to play hard nosed football, and they run the ball a lot. He's got a good little
Yeah.
quarterback. But yeah, that was a big surprise, honestly, just because there's a lot of question marks around them. So, but
Yeah.
let's. There's so much action. Obviously, Quinn Ewers coming back for Texas was big.
It's huge.
They're back in the top 25. I can see them continuing to play really good football the rest of the year. Their coaching staff's a really good coaching staff. They do play TCU later this year. It's another team that separated itself, but they still got to play Baylor and Oklahoma State starting this week with Oklahoma State. So if they're legit, we'll find out. I feel like the conferences are going to cannibalize each other like they always do.
Always.
Always, and the SEC is going to just have its top four. Right now,
Yep.
your top four in the SEC: Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Tennessee. They're going to, come down to them playing each other.
Yep.
So, but all in all, it's good watching football. So, let's just go to our recap, Week 6 recap. We'll talk about that Bama Texas A&M game.
Mm.
First hot take of that one: Bama needs Bryce Young.
They do, and it's
Yeah.
it's not that is it Milrow? Is that how you say it? I think Milrow.
Milrow.
Milrow. It's not that he's bad. It's just he's not Bryce Young. That's
No, he's not Bryce Young. I mean,
and well, that was the biggest takeaway there. But also, people want to keep hating on Texas A&M. Their defense is elite.
oh yeah,
Their offense has yet to be seen. Trying to figure it all out. All those 5-star recruits, and we're sitting here. They mean nothing. So all those people out there that say you have to get all these 5 stars, Jimbo's proving you wrong right now. You don't need just 5 stars apparently. But their defense is elite. We did learn that about Texas A&M, but we also learned, like you said, about Bama, they need Bryce.
they need Bryce. I believe like he is a different edge to that offense. They did take a step back in their wide receiver core. We all know that.
Of course.
You can't put like 4 straight dudes in the NFL and then continue that. Like if you like, I know they got dudes in that wide receiver core right now. They're just not there yet. But their defense surprised me. They were able to get run on. Bama's defense was able to get run on, which was surprising in that second half. That was pretty big. And then they couldn't get pressure without blitzing. They could not. Their front four could not get to a mediocre Texas A&M offensive line. They could not get the hand. So that was very surprising too, just because Will Anderson and all those 4 or 5-star guys that they got that are going to be playing on Sunday. That was and at home, that was very surprising. So they literally in that fourth quarter they started blitzing the crap out of hand.
Yeah.
To make some type of pressure. The poor kid was doing his best throwing the ball like laterally. I mean,
yeah,
he was doing the best he could.
Trying not to get murdered. I mean, Bama fans might be saying this. I really try to ignore a lot of the Alabama chatter. But were they looking ahead to the Vols?
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe because Tennessee's good. And we're about to dig into that in just a second. But
yeah, we
maybe
can
that's what
segue
happened.
that.
But Saban never looks ahead, so I don't want to sit here and act like he does. This is the most undisciplined Bama team I've ever seen under Nick Saban, with the exception of his first year, where they lost to Louisiana Monroe. So this is just a very rare Saban team. But yeah, go ahead, Nate. Your Vols.
I think they're just young, Bama.
Yeah.
Like they're a young team playing a lot of young guys. There are weaknesses, and I appreciate, as a Vols fan, I appreciate all of the great film that was on the display.
Oh, of course.
Because they had to run all their plays. Like they could not run half their playbook. They ran their whole playbook the last 2 weeks. And so I thought there's a lot of good film on there. So we're segueing into the LSU Vols Tennessee game. I never ever bet or put anything down on the Vols. Last 20 years has been heartache enough for me. Just utter pain.
Nate, tell them what I told you midweek. Tell them what I told you. Go ahead. Tell them what I told you.
You told me in a nutshell that this is the best Vols team you've seen. They're legit. Hendon Hooker's legit. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to fall, but the other shoe's not going to fall.
And this is the
Coming
worst LSU team I've
worst,
seen.
definitely the worst LSU team in a long time. Like
Nate was sweating it.
I was
I tried
sweating
to
it.
assure him. I tried to assure him.
He did. He did assure me. He
A
did. He
3-point
did.
was a terrible, terrible. Vegas lost
Vegas
so much
lost a
money.
lot of money on that one. And deep down in my heart, I knew it was going to be a blowout just because. But you're just always waiting for the other shoe to fall, and it's like you sit there as a fan, and you're like, "It's going to happen sometime soon. Here we go. It's about
Yep.
time, about midway through the season." But you have to think this is not Derek Dooley, this is not Butch Jones, and this is not Jeremy Pruitt.
Correct.
Like this is a legitimate coach, Coach Heupel. He was won everywhere he's gone. He loves football. He's passionate about the players, passionate about building that culture, and you can see that in the first 2 years, not even 2 full years. He doesn't even have his players yet. These are rent players still.
It's true.
Like he had one recruiting class, which was pretty good, but this recruiting class 23 is his, and he's got a top recruiting class. And then 2024, they're starting to build that momentum, and winning helps breed success. So it was surprising how the game began. The LSU game, they fumbled, got the ball. See, you don't give an offense, Tennessee's offense, the ball on the 30-yard line, and then turn around and give it right back to them. That game was 20-0 before LSU could even breathe.
Yeah.
They did. I think what really surprised me the most wasn't the offense. That wasn't a surprise. It was the defense on how they played Jalen Daniels. They took the plays out of Auburn's playbook. Don't attack him. Keep him in the pocket. Make him beat you with his arm. Once again, Tennessee forces people to go for it on fourth down when they don't want to. It's causing coaches like Billy Napier. Florida was able to get away with it because they have Anthony Richardson. When it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, dude's a freak. He's going to get it. But Tennessee did it. They're forcing teams to literally go for it on 4th and 5 on their own 45.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's respect to what the Heupel's doing. Like people's like, hey, we can't stop you. And no one defensively has been able to counter what the Vols are doing offensively. Like, and the Vols aren't going fast all the time. Like, he's going slow a little bit. He's making you show your cards, and then boom, they make a transition within a play.
Yep.
It's quick on the fly. It's pretty cool to see as a fan of the sport, the X's and O's of it. It's like, damn, like if they're going to keep their safeties high, I'm just going to keep throwing screens. Okay, boom. Yep. Keep throwing a screen. All right, let's run the ball. Let's try to get 5 yards. All right, they brought a linebacker in. Cool, let's go around the corner. So the Vols did a lot of good things successfully. That game could have been worse. They kicked 5 field goals.
Yeah, that was the only bad thing. I didn't really get worried because I don't believe that LSU was going to score, even though your defense isn't your strength.
No.
Anytime you're kicking field goals instead of scoring touchdowns, it gets really dicey. But I will say, you're talking about how Heupel runs his offense and stuff. I got to see that for 6-7 years under Gus. Almost identical offense. It's beautiful when it's working. When you don't have the right quarterback, it's the most frustrating offense to watch. And Hendon Hooker is the best quarterback for that system right now. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but next year we got to see what you get coming in there. You still need that dual threat.
We got in the back of it. We got Joe Milton, who he looks night and day, completely different from last year. He stayed. He could have transferred and gone anywhere he wanted. He could have gone to the MAC. He could have gone to American Conference team and just killed it. But he stayed. So he stayed because he knows he's going to have a chance to play next year as a senior, and he's learning under one of the best quarterback coaches in Heupel in the nation. So I'm excited to see what he looks like next year. Plus, we have the Nico kid coming in, that 5-star out of California. And we have Dylan Sampson, who is another 4-star kid at Indiana right now. He's a freshman. So there's a lot of good quarterbacks. After going through the Jared Guantano era, Instead of having actual quarterbacks now, it's like this is nice.
Yeah,
So
it is nice. I
it,
can't wait
it,
for Auburn to get to that point.
yeah.
It is what it is. I mean,
All
but
right.
yeah. So I mean, we can move over to the
Yeah, there's
next
a lot
one.
of good takeaways. The Vols are legit, I believe,
Yep.
as a fan and a person who watches a lot of football. They are a legit top 5 team in the nation.
Yep.
You don't go down to Death Valley and take over Death Valley like that. I don't care who you are.
It's always beautiful to see.
It's always beautiful to see. So they are legit. LSU is definitely. They barely might make a bowl game this year if they would continue to play the way they're doing.
Yeah.
And I believe not Les Miles. I believe Brian Kelly is a Les Miles wannabe. Like he's a salesman, and he proved
course.
that. Yeah. So I don't. He might get fired within 4 years. So,
Yeah.
like he's getting exposed big time. Um, yeah. All right. Let's transition to Ohio State, Michigan State. My takeaway on that one, Ohio State is number 1 or 2, 1.5 in the nation. They're so freaking good offensively. They don't skip a beat. Stroud is a phenomenal. He's probably going to win the Heisman just because they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be hard to beat coming down the stretch of the season. Defensively, they have some things that you can get on them, but they're going to score so many points. Surrounded by nothing but talent around them, they got it going. And Michigan State's not very good. Let's just throw it out that way.
No, they're bad.
I want to see Ohio State play Penn State. I want to see that game. It's in the Happy Valley this year. That right there will test them. That will. Yep. And it's going to be a really good test. That's really the only test they have this year besides Michigan, and they play Michigan at home. The schedule this year for them has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
so,
it's what you want when you're one of those top 5 teams.
Exactly, and they're gonna take advantage of that. So the Happy Valley, that game is going to be electric. We might bring on Ryan Kane, our Penn State friend, for that one.
We'll have to.
Because he went to Penn State. He's super excited about that one. I bet he is. He's a Philly fan and everything, so he's really happy right now for everything. That was my biggest takeaway on that one. Do you have a takeaway that you saw anything on that one?
You nailed it because it was such a snooze fest because, again, Michigan State's so bad and Ohio State is proving why they're a top 1, 2 in the nation right now. They might be the best team, but Georgia seems like they got over there sleepwalking. So it's tough. I mean, but if you're in the top 3 conversation, the top 3, I mean, Ohio State, Georgia, and
it's a coin flip.
Bama with Bryce, you're top 3 right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We already talked a little bit of it. The UCLA-Utah game. That game was on at 4:00. It was in between the Alabama games. It was snuck in, but Utah with Cam Rising going to UCLA. This was their second opportunity on a big scale to prove that they're legit after the Florida game, and they failed. The dude had a good game, but he didn't. That their defense was getting ran over all day by that UCLA running attack. UCLA's defense played good, and Utah's number one thing was like, we play hard-nosed football. Like, we're going to run on you. We're going to play tough defense. And they just looked like they didn't want to be there. Like, it was bad. And I think a lot of it has to do with UCLA's confidence in their offense. Like, they ran, like, you got to think, Chip Kelly, OG God, the guy who started running this RPO stuff at Oregon years ago, he didn't go nowhere. He's not stupid. He knows how to run an offense. But he's running it with more of a power scheme with their backs that they have and their running back and their quarterback. Like they ran a split bone like pistol. Like you don't do that.
That's crazy.
You don't run that in the Pac-12.
Yeah, I wish I would have gotten to watch more of that game. Unfortunately, I was, that was right, like you said, the 4:00. Man,
it was just like you had to choose. Like you don't have screens. Like there's like 9 games on.
It's right there in the middle of Auburn, Georgia. I mean, I'm not. Yeah. As much as I don't enjoy watching Auburn right now, I'm going to every single Saturday. It's my team, but I wish I could talk on it. The only thing I can say is, after that Florida versus Utah game, I didn't really think Utah was quite as good. And I said, maybe the 20 to 25 range for Utah is the most appropriate, and they're kind of proving that. But UCLA, everything I've seen, they seem
Yeah,
pretty legit.
yeah. They got some good tests coming up. They got to play Oregon, they got to play Oregon State, they got to play Washington, and I think half of those are on the road. So they're going to get out of their the Rose Bowl and get on the road and see what they're tested. They're going to play that. I honestly, that UCLA USC game is going to be really good this year.
Yeah,
If USC continues doing what they're supposed to do with Lincoln Riley, well, they'll score, but they can't stop anybody defensively. So it's going to be a fun one. I can't wait to see that one. It's been a while since that game because that's I think it's a Thanksgiving weekend game, isn't it? I believe so. Or so it's a week before.
Yeah, I
It's
can't
something
remember.
like the last two. It's like the last week or the second to last week. So, all right, let's move on. Let's go to Kansas and TCU. This one was a nooner. Uh, it was a good game. Kansas. I don't think you can say Kansas is a faker. I think Kansas stayed in that game. They lost their quarterback, and they were still able to compete in that game. So I believe Kansas is a legit team. I also think they're also going to come up the next 6 games, and they got to play some teams. They got to play Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
They got to play Baylor. They got to play Kansas State. That's never easy. They're going to come up. I feel like they might end up maybe 7-5 this year, or maybe 8-4 at best. But they're legit. Like they're gonna compete. So kudos to the coaching staff at what they're doing there. But I think TCU showed on the road after beating Oklahoma so bad at home. Going to the road, it was a hostile environment. Like there was a sold out crowd. I mean, it was loud, and they kept their composure and they beat a really good team on the road. And now they get to play for their reward. They get to play Oklahoma State at home, which is not going to be easy. But I think TCU for me personally, I think TCU is a legit contender in that conference. And honestly, they might be a dark horse if they can win out, if they can do what they need to do. They could be a dark horse for the playoffs. And Sonny Dykes is doing a phenomenal job with that program. He literally inherited a poopy crow program from Gary Patterson, and because he was at SMU, it was an easy transition to TCU, and the fans love him. He's running a really fun, exciting same offense he ran at SMU. He just picked it up and ran it. It's an easy offense to run. The Dugan kid, the quarterback, the kid's a phenomenal athlete. So I'm excited for the back half for TCU because they got to play Texas. They got to play Texas. They got to play Oklahoma State. They got to play Baylor and Kansas State. So going through those 4 right there, if they get half of those, you're looking at a 10-2 season for them. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited for them. So they play an exciting brand of football.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell, but honestly, Kansas losing their quarterback, if he's done for the season, yeah, it's 7-4, 8, or 7-8 wins is their ceiling. If not, they're going to compete. And then TCU nailed everything you could with that. They are who they are. Big game this weekend. We'll learn a whole lot more about that entire conference this weekend. So yeah, but Kansas has nothing to hang their head about, even if they do come over with a 7-1 season, because quite frankly, they're a basketball school.
Still blue blood.
It's the same as Kentucky. They're a blue blood basketball school, so you got to be proud for 7-8 wins.
And we're gonna do basketball too, guys. So like, we're not just football people. We love college basketball too. So we might. So strap your helmets on because that one's gonna be fun this year. So I think that energy in Lawrence, Kansas right now is going to transition. I think it started with the national championship. and then it's just continued on. And so,
Yeah.
but we could talk about so many other takeaways like Clemson. I believe Clemson, to me, they had to prove that they were legit, and they beat Wake Forest to beat NC State. They're probably going to beat Florida State pretty good on Saturday. I don't see Florida State stopping them at all offensively. They're just clicking on all cylinders. Like, to me, Clemson is back to where they need to be in
Yeah.
the spectrum of, hey, we're going to be the number 3 or number 4 team in this playoff spot. And their defense is just, it's good, like it's supposed to be. So and then we'll see this week against Florida. That's another road test. Clemson has been on the road, like they've been tested early on this year. So that's how I'm like, you know what, they're legit. Put them back in the top 5, like we did. I put them in the top 25 or our top 5 and our top 25. So, all right. So let's we're going to transition on to our mid-year grades.
Oh, yeah.
We pull that up. So before we do that, we're going to do our mid-season standings, so that way people know they're kind of legit on what we're doing here. We pull those up for everyone so I can read them.
I'm pretty sure the Pick'em were all dominating.
We're all positive. Yeah, we're all positive. I had one
Yeah.
bad week, but I wanted to try to catch y'all.
Yeah.
But it did not work in my favor. I went like 2 and like 5 or 2 and 7. It was not good for me.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we're also ahead of ESPN's FPI and
yes, we are beating the
and
FPI.
Brutus, who is terrible. Brutus is
awful. Brutus is what you expect with a dude named Brutus. The Oregon Duck, though, he's staying with us. So the Oregon Duck is really just any of our friends. But they're doing pretty good as a whole. Dang it, where is this thing? There it is. All right, I got it. Okay, so for a season standing, Scott is 42 and 12, which kudos to Scott. That is a phenomenal record so far. And we didn't start until week 2, so this is full. Is this full from week 2 or week 1, Jake?
I think it's full. I think we went back and pulled up what we had put in. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Scott's 42 and 12, which is an awesome record. I'm 37 and 17. Like I said, I tried to get ahead of y'all, try to catch y'all on week 5, and it did not work in my favor for that one. Jake is killing it right now, 45 and 9, which is amazing. So even if he was I think what percentile is that in the ESPN pick'em? It's pretty
probably
high.
97, 98, 99.
Yeah, you're up there.
Probably.
Yeah, you're up there.
Yeah, I tried to keep it under double digits by week 6 and got really lucky on some picks, honestly.
I got lucky last week going 7 and 1.
Yeah.
I went 7 and 1. The Utah, I thought Utah was legit. Obviously, they're not. I did pick Notre Dame. I was like, it's Notre Dame's time. This is what they normally do. They suck in the beginning of the year and they turn it around. So I figured this is what they were going to do. The Duck is 40 and 14, which is actually not bad when it comes to multiple different people being the Duck.
Yep.
Brutus is an idiot. And then the FPI is 40. Is that 41 and 14? Yeah. Yes, 41 and 14. So we got 2 people beating the FPI, which is the supercomputer. So that's pretty damn good.
Yep.
Our picks against the spread this whole year, Scott's 11 and 9. I'm 8 and 12, and Jake is 9 and 11. So we're there on some of these games. Now that Michigan game last week, I would have been 4 and 1, and Michigan won by 21 instead of 22. I was like, oh my god.
Happened.
Oh man, it was good though. We were there. We're on it. So, all right, we're gonna transition now into our mid-season grades. We're gonna go through the conferences pretty quickly and just give each team a grade. based off of what we've seen and based off the numbers and what's going on. So we're going to start the SEC. Jake, go ahead and lead us off with that one, bud.
Yeah, so these are in no particular order, so it's going to sound like I'm jumping around a bunch. But the first team I have here is Bama. I graded them at a B, not because Bryce Young is hurt, because it's the most undisciplined Bama team I've ever seen. You want me to just keep rolling through them, Nate?
Yeah, no, that's
Go
fine.
through
Yeah,
them all.
I would definitely, I would say B
Yeah.
plus, just because they still are undefeated. I would not give them an A at all in any aspect of it. They have shown undisciplined areas. They've also shown that they can get run on and passed on. So which is fine. That's why it's mid-season. So I would say B is a solid grade for them.
Yeah. UGA B plus because they looked extremely mediocre for those 2 weeks and really for an entire half against a pretty bad Auburn team. So B plus, honestly, Virgin on that on the verge of that A minus grade.
Yeah, I would say I would agree. B plus on that one. It seems like they figured it out.
Yeah.
But I would say B plus just because how they played against Missouri, how they played against Kent State, and then that first half against Auburn. It seemed like someone woke them up at the halftime and said, "Remember who you are," and they did. And so we'll see what they do this week. They're playing Vanderbilt, so
Yeah, it'll be fine.
they'll be fine. Yeah.
Tennessee, them Vols, I gave them an A. I don't give out A pluses, but if I did, they would be on the verge of it. But an A for Tennessee. They've done everything that's been asked of them this season so far.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of two huge tests still to come this season. They go 2-0 in those two big tests, that Georgia and Bama game.
You go 2-0. They can lose one game; they'll still be in the playoffs. So, I mean, I would grade them. I would grade them an A minus just because of the defense. Their secondary is lacking. Their front seven is phenomenal. They're not giving up. I think they're giving up like maybe less than 100 on the ground, which is great. Rodney Gardner's doing a great job with that. You know a lot about Rodney Gardner. He used to coach at Auburn. Yep. So, but we're lacking defensive backs. We have a lot of young guys, but they're not ready to play yet. So that'll be fixed. But if they can continue to manufacture pressures like they're doing and scoring at will, it's going to be really hard for teams to play against them. So I would say a B plus for me or an A minus for the Vols.
Yeah, for sure. Ole Miss, I have an A minus. Again, doing pretty much everything they're asked to do. But for the same reasons you said, the Vols were an A minus for you. That's why I have Ole Miss. Their defense is just not quite there yet for the lane train.
Yeah, Ole Miss is a tricky one because they've only really played Kentucky at home. They're about to start. They got to play Alabama. They got to play Mississippi State at the end of the year. That Egg Bowl is going to be fun. They got to play. They just beat Arkansas, but we learned Arkansas was not. They were fake all frauds all year. They still have to play Hills. They got to play LSU. They still got to beat LSU. There's a lot of football left for them. So, but Lane Kiffin is calling a great year again with Jackson Dart at the offense, and their defense. It seems like it's getting better, but I would. Your grade is very fair. They're beating teams they're supposed to beat.
Yep.
So I would definitely.
Next one I have, and I could have graded them higher, is Mississippi State at a B. But I don't really have an super crazy explanation. Just think they're playing good football, but I don't think they're A worthy. But I do think they're definitely in that B range, that second tier of the SEC right now.
I feel like that's fair. They should be. They would be an A if they beat LSU. They choked in that one. That was a good road test, and they just choked. But they turned around and have beaten Arkansas by like 20, and they beat Texas A&M at home by like 12 or something like that. So Will Rogers is looking really good. If I want to watch a really good potential NFL guy, watch them play football. the Pirate is being the Pirate, and they're playing good defense, which is weird. So yeah, I would give them a B or B plus, something around those two ranges for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Texas A&M, I gave them a D. How many five-star recruits are on that team? I don't care if you're young or not.
It's like,
Bama's done it. Bama started doing it. You're a D. That's
yeah,
awful, awful for Jimbo. If we're going on their offense is an F, their defense is probably a B. So that's but I'm giving them a D all
balance
around.
it out, yeah.
Like I'm giving them a D for the whole team because Jimbo's got to figure something out. Don't want to hear the excuses. You got every
Yeah,
5-star under the sun for the past 2 years.
at a transition, man, he's either going to start. You got to start Wegman, that young
Hmm.
kid, that 5-star kid, or you're going to continue to go with the hand and
Yep.
just go. It's just one of those things. So it's just like piss or get off the pot, man. Like, I know you don't start freshmen, but you're sitting at 1-2 in the conference and 3-3 as a record. This is the breaking point where you're gonna have to. You got to still play Auburn. You still got to play Ole Miss and LSU, and they have to go to South Carolina. They're on a bye week. They have to go to South Carolina. Like that's not easy. South Carolina just beat Kentucky, and
It's
they're
not an
feeling
easy place to
themselves off
play.
a bye week. So like it's not their road is not easy.
Mm-mm.
So I would agree. I'm giving them a D based off on expectations, based off of how bad their offense looks with that much talent. It's really coaching, not the players. It's really breaking down the coaching
Yep.
when it comes to that. So D is definitely fair.
Yeah. The next one was Kentucky. I gave a C plus, and I probably wouldn't have given them a C plus if they wouldn't have gotten ranked so high and everybody acted like they were so good all of a sudden. I probably would have given them a B, but I'm blaming this C plus on
On
the
the rank.
media.
Yeah, media blew them up because they think they're the same Kentucky team like last year, and they're not. They lost way too many players to the draft, which isn't a lot. It was like three, but that's all you need because Rondo Robinson was the difference in that offense. Levis is not the same without him. They don't have the weapons. I don't care if you say Carlos Rogers is a good running back or not. They
Yeah.
still people can stack the box on you and say, "Hey, Will Levis beat me."
Yep.
And you're looking at that. He didn't play last week against South Carolina. He's injured, but he'll be back next week when they play Tennessee in Knoxville, and we'll see what they're made of. That's a
Yep.
big road test for them, and we'll see. As a fan, I want to say we're going to beat them by 30, but it's Kentucky, Tennessee. Anything can go in that game.
Oh yeah.
So, um, but yeah, I agree. A C's good. Their defense is not like it was last year, and their offense is mediocre at best. You don't get beat by South Carolina at home. I'm sorry.
Mm-mm.
You don't go. It's a home game. It's a night game. I don't care if you have your backup quarterback in or not. You do not get beat. They look sloppy the whole game. So that's my take on them for sure. That C is a really good grade on that one.
Yeah, and then I have the next one's Florida, C minus.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah.
definitely agreeable on that one. Definitely
Uh,
agreeable.
yeah. The next one, Arkansas, gave them a D. I only gave out two Fs. This was not one of them. I gave them a D. Could have given them a D minus, but just a D.
Their defensive backs are a D alone. They're an
Yeah.
F alone. Like they're the one of the worst defensive coverage teams in the nation. And how do you do that? Like last year we were so good, and now this year, poor KJ Jefferson should have left. He should have transferred or
Yeah.
gone or went pro because that man like he's losing so much draft stock right now this year.
Yeah.
What's up, Nix?
See what's up. The next one that I gave out was LSU. Also not one of my Fs. I gave them a D minus.
Yeah,
Um, because they did beat Auburn. They did beat
they did beat
Mississippi State.
Yep.
I gave them a D minus. If they would have lost one of those two, they'd have been in the
The
cellar
Fs.
with my two Fs.
Yeah, they're going to be in the cellar for me. I'll give them an F based off of just how sloppy they play and they don't have an offensive identity and their defense looks like poop.
Yeah.
And you have so many weapons. Like, it's insane. It's insane how many weapons.
Where's Tayshawn Booty been for like 3 weeks?
He's
He had
literally
one catch against Auburn.
he didn't even show up against Tennessee game. Like he had
No.
like one catch.
Yeah,
So,
crazy. Out there doing
yeah.
cardio.
Yeah, pretty much he's out there just running for running.
My next two are going to be my next two Fs. First one's Auburn with an F. They can't do anything right. Honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, their defense is probably a C, maybe a B, at least for the cornerbacks. But F, Brian Harsin has decided that he wants to get buyout money and get the heck out of Dodge. So yeah, they got an F for me. You gotta win football games to get a higher grade.
Absolutely. I give him an F, just because of they don't. It's coaching. It's not the players. I mean, they don't have enough players, but the ones that they do have are doing their best.
Yeah.
So then we got what, Vandy and Missouri.
Got three left. Missouri's an F. You lost to Auburn. You're getting an F.
Missouri's
Sorry.
bad. Yeah, Missouri F. Drinkowitz.
Yeah.
Good luck to you, bud. You might make it this year. But if anything, you're gonna get fired next year.
Correct. South Carolina and then Vandy. So South Carolina, I gave them a D. Gave them a D and might have could have done more forgiving after this win this weekend. But if you can't win any of the games, you can't win it. Yeah, exactly. That's how South Carolina plays. But yeah, a D for South Carolina for me.
I give them a C minus or a C.
Yeah.
That roster is still bad. He inherited a bad roster, and they're doing their best. They still don't have an offensive line. Rattler, if Rattler was playing better with the pressure that he had, but he throws a lot of picks. Still, he's giving the ball up. He's giving the ball up. But we'll see what they do. They've had a tough first half. Their last 5 games suck. Like, they got to play Clemson at the end of the year. Before that, they play Tennessee. Before that, they play Florida. Like, it's a tough end of the year, man. So we'll see what they can do.
Yeah, we'll see. And then our last team is Vandy. I actually gave them a C minus. Probably could have given them a C or a C plus because they're exceeding expectations.
They were bowl eligible in the first 3 weeks.
Yep.
So there you go. Clark Lee, you're doing a great job at Vanderbilt, bud. Let's see if you can continue doing that.